Blackstone Audio presents Outline by Rachel Cusk. This book is read by Kate Redding. 1. Before the flight, I was invited for lunch at a London club with a billionaire I'd been promised had liberal credentials. He talked in his open-necked shirt about the new software he was developing that could help organizations identify the employees most likely to rob and betray them in the future. We were meant to be discussing a literary magazine he was thinking of starting up. Unfortunately, I had to leave before we arrived at that subject. He insisted on paying for a taxi to the airport, which was useful since I was late and had a heavy suitcase. The billionaire had been keen to give me the outline of his life story, which had begun unprepossessingly and ended, obviously, with him being the relaxed, well-heeled man who sat across the table from me today. I wondered whether in fact what he wanted now was to be a writer, with the literary magazine as his entree. A lot of people want to be writers. There was no reason to think you couldn't buy your way into it. This man had bought himself in and out of a great many things. He mentioned a scheme he was working on to eradicate lawyers from people's personal lives. He was also developing a blueprint for a floating wind farm, big enough to accommodate the entire community of people needed to service and run it. The gigantic platform could be located far out to sea, thus removing the unsightly turbines from the stretch of coast where he was hoping to pilot the proposal, and where, incidentally, he owned a house. On Sundays he played drums in a rock band, just for fun. He was expecting his 11th child, which wasn't as bad as it sounded when you considered that he and his wife had once adopted quadruplets from Guatemala. I was finding it difficult to assimilate everything I was being told. The waitresses kept bringing more things, oysters, relishes, special wines. He was easily distracted, like a child with too many Christmas presents. But when he put me in the taxi, he said, "Enjoy yourself in Athens," though I didn't remember telling him that was where I was going. On the tarmac at Heathrow, the plane full of people waited silently to be taken into the air. The air hostess stood in the aisle and mimed with her props as the recording played. We were strapped into our seats, a field of strangers, in a silence like the silence of a congregation while the liturgy is read.